Hi, my name is Erin Koerselman. I'm the founder of HonestlyADHD.com and an ADHD parenting coach. Today, I want to talk to you about a well-known study that people use to describe ADHD and also to make some less than stellar predictions about ADHD kiddos' futures. But I'm going to tell you the whole story. Actually, the great part of the story that most people leave out, and 3 things that you can take away from this study to help your kiddo thrive. In the late 1960s or early 70s, a lead scientist from Stanford named Walter Mischel took 600 kids between the ages of 4 and 6 and wanted to study the way that these kids engaged in delayed gratification. In other words, if these kids were tempted with something, what kind of behaviors and thoughts did they engage in order to be successful at waiting before they got the something? And this is something that our ADHD kiddos aren't always that good at, right? All right, so this is what they did. They took the children into a room one by one, and they gave them a small marshmallow. Actually, it was sometimes a cookie or a pretzel, but since this is called the Marshmallow Test, we're sticking with marshmallow. So they gave them a small marshmallow, and they gave them 2 choices. Your first choice, they said, is to eat the marshmallow right now. The second choice is to wait until I come back. And when I come back, if you still have a marshmallow, you're going to get a second marshmallow as a reward. The researcher left the room, they videotaped the child, and 15 minutes later, the researcher came back with a second marshmallow. Okay, so the results of this study were that a minority of the children didn't even try to delay gratification. The minute the researcher left, they ate their marshmallow. The rest of the children tried or succeeded to delay their gratification and hold out for eating the marshmallow. And of those kids, about 2/3 of them gave in at some point in time and ate their marshmallow. So 1/3 of the kids who tried to delay their gratification actually succeeded. But then here's where things get interesting. Mischel followed up with a lot of the participants in the study when they were around the age of 30. And he found that the kids who were long delayers, kids who either were able to hold out for a long time or actually delayed and held out for that second marshmallow, were more successful in life. Now, he measured this through certain things like SAT scores, level of education, BMI, and a few other kind of self-reporting studies, all right? The people who were not able to delay or just didn't delay, they were less successful in life. That's where most people end the story. They say, well, the kids who weren't able to delay gratification are like kids with ADHD. See, that's what ADHD looks like. And their futures are pretty crappy. So, no, that is not the end of this story. And that's not even the full story. So let me tell you the full story. The full story is that for the kids who were able to delay gratification, they had a skill that the others didn't have. That skill was the ability to distract themselves from the temptation of eating the marshmallow and doing something else until the researcher came back. And so some of them would smash up their marshmallow like a pancake. Some of them would pretend their marshmallow was a pet or little person. Some of them would pretend the marshmallows were clouds, talk to themselves, tell themselves jokes, whatever they had to do in order to distract themselves from the activity of eating the marshmallow until the researcher came back. Now that is a skill. So can ADHD kids learn this skill? Absolutely they can. Go ahead and relax. With the right education for the parents, the right environment, we can definitely help your child obtain the skill of delaying gratification. Exactly how we teach this skill depends on the age of your child, what particular struggles your child has, his or her environment, etc. And we can go really deep into that with ADHD parent coaching. It'll also be the topic of a ton of blog posts and videos in the future. For now, though, there are 3 ways that I think you can use the Marshmallow Test to your advantage. The first way you can use this test is education. So even though the studies aren't the whole story, it's a really simple dramatization of impulse control. And impulse control is something that people often don't understand with ADHD. And once people understand that, they have different expectations for your kid. So being able to describe the marshmallow test or show them a reenactment of the marshmallow test is a simple way to describe ADHD to them. ADHD is not a deficit in your child's character, and it definitely does not define his or her destiny. The third way to use the marshmallow test is to remind yourself that impulse control is a skill, and you can't discipline someone into learning a skill. So in this way, you're going to rethink some of the ways you're working with your child when they exhibit poor impulse control. For example, when I'm teaching my child how to play golf, the first thing he needs to do is learn how to swing the golf club. That is a skill. If every time he swings the golf club wrong, I whacked him over the head or I gave him a timeout, would he ever learn the skill of swinging the golf club? No, he'd never figure it out. It's not intuitive. ADHD makes kids unable to inherently learn some of the skills that other kids just pick up through life experience, such as impulse control. So no matter how many times you time out, yell, ground, etc., if your child doesn't have the skill yet, the behavior will never change. That's it for now. Be sure you head over to Facebook and give us a like and a thumbs up. We love to see people join our community there. Head over to honestlyadhd.com for a ton more resources and information about parenting coaching, and we will talk to you soon.